Estate planning is all about prevention and trying to avoid things, and the main thing we want to avoid is court. So, for example, one of my clients had come in to me and said that her husband died and he didn't prepare any documents, and she was the second spouse, and there was two older daughters from a previous marriage. So he died with no documents. He owned a house, some life insurance, some stock. Altogether it was about $380,000. In order for all those assets to be transferred to the wife, you would think it would be fairly easy, but it really isn't. Everything was owned by him individually, and according to state statutes, 50% goes to the surviving spouse, 50% goes to the children,
Sure.
which sounds like unfair, really, because the surviving spouse is there, but it really, that's what happens. So we had to go to court, and we had to open up this thing called the death probate. And so now it's the estate of John Doe. The process took about 3 years before this finalized. Like I said, there was about $384,000 of assets. The kids were fighting with this spouse, and they wanted this and they wanted that, and everyone was just fighting. That's what took so long. And so for such a medium-sized estate, the legal fees were about $25,000. And after the 3 years was over, everyone got their money, and yes, that money should have been given to the wife and to the kids as well. Instead, it went through all the probate courts and obviously attorney's fees, and also just the heartache that it put on the family. So that is something we definitely want to avoid, and the way to avoid it is to prepare your estate planning documents and make sure it's done properly, and that everything is in trust, and that we don't have to worry about the court system.
How long does it usually take to set up a trust and will and everything else?
The process in my office is fairly short. We like to be as efficient as possible. So from the first meeting to reviewing what their wishes are and kind of determining everything to the point when we're actually reviewing the documents, it's about 4 weeks.
Okay.
So we try to do about a month time period. They sign their documents, we fund the trust or get things transferred, and then they're done. They can now live their lives without having to worry about this.
So essentially they can avoid 3 years of heartache for just spending a month.
That's right. 3 years of heartache, and not to mention, I always look at it as the relationships being broken, because now that spouse and her stepdaughters no longer speak. So that's the sad part. I mean, yes, money is important, but in time, but now your relationship is severed, and you cannot get that back.
It's really unfortunate.